The economy is going through its cycle as expected. The first thing I want to look at today is the mass layoffs that are going on. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody who's been following and paying attention to this. The second thing I want to look at is the inflationary pain. Where is this coming from? I've got charts for you. I've got details. The third thing is the supply chain and China. A lot to cover here in this episode. Let's begin. You may have already heard about this, but Amazon reportedly plans to lay off about 10,000 employees starting this week. Now, Amazon had hired 400,000 employees back in 2020 at a time in which most other companies were laying off or at least pausing their hiring. So they have gone in the reverse direction. I believe 10,000 is the largest they've ever done. It just shows you that things change very fast. You look at their stock, you see what has happened. The stock has been pummeled down to about half of where it was at its peak. So this just shows you that no matter how big or important or integral a company is, they can be affected by the same things as any other small, medium, and large companies. Here is some of the different companies. You look at Twitter, 50%, Intel, 20%, Snapchat, 20%, and you go down the list. It's not just tech companies. That's what I wanted to suggest to you, although tech has been taking the brunt of this. I mean, you just see the numbers. It's quite obvious. This is something that I wanted to mention because we're always talking about how fantastic the tech companies are. They're going to be the latest and greatest. They're always going to go up, and there's any excuse, invest in what you know, and all these different things you've heard people say. Layoff spree in Silicon Valley spells the end of an era for big tech. Over the past week, Silicon Valley companies have laid off 20,000 employees, a swift ramp up on the job cuts and hiring freezes that have been ricocheting through the tech industry for months. They give you several examples. It's all the big names, but I think it's important to show you that things can change, okay? Just because it's Amazon. Yes, Amazon delivers all the packages. People believe that, oh, look how fantastic the company is, therefore the stock has to go up. Oh no, if I just have a long enough timeline, the stock has to go up. These things are disconnected. The employees, when they have hiring and firing, you look at the stock price, you look at the actual revenue, the profits of these companies, you can kind of say that they are connected in a way, but when you look at it on a deeper level, it's not always the case, especially when we take the stock itself. These things can move up and down for seemingly no reason until you understand that there's so much speculation out there. So a stock doesn't necessarily have to get back to where it was before. If the stock was $100 a share, it's doing great, everyone says it's fantastic, and then suddenly it's $50 a share. People would say, buy the dip, because it's going to go back to $100 a share. There's nothing telling you that it will go back to that level. Okay, there's just no way. A lot of that could have been speculation on the way up. Now, this is Layoffs Tracker. You can do a search online to find that, or you go to the link in the description under the sources. And this is just showing us different companies, and it actually breaks it down. Does a really good job here. You could see a lot of the companies that are here. I mean, you may recognize some of these. Juul, they make those e-cigarette things. Redfin is on here. Meta's on here, and it just gives you the total amount of layoffs. So go to group 1,000, Juul 400, Meta's 11,000, and you can go down the list. Okay, and it actually shows you a list of employees, which I found hard to believe, but I guess it's there. Anyway, you could see this for yourself if you're interested, just to get a tally or a total as to how many at this time. They're showing us 121,000 in 2022. So the numbers have really grown. I know there's a lot of people who would say, this is not much. It is significant. Okay? In my opinion, that's the way I look at it. FedEx freight unit furloughs workers as cargo demand slows. It's not just tech companies. It's not just financial companies. This is FedEx. And FedEx is seen as a bellwether for the entire economy because they're moving stuff in and out. And if suddenly there isn't that demand there with FedEx, it gives you an indication of what's happening in the economy itself. It's not going to be a tell-all. You have issues with FedEx, maybe people start choosing UPS, and maybe there's another one that comes on, and it depends where it's going to and from. There's a lot of variables. But the point is that this is a good indication that there is a slowdown. Less stuff is moving in and out. Also, freight costs have declined considerably. Let's look at the next aspect here. Inflation expectations rebounded in October on record high jump in gas outlook. This is according to the New York Fed survey. So this comes at a time in which everybody is hoping that the Federal Reserve is going to be able to slow down their rate hikes and very rapidly turn that around to stopping altogether. And then, of course, just as quickly reverse course and go right back down to 0% interest rates. That's the hope. But according to this, the survey that they have, it's showing that people believe prices will be going up. And it, for some stuff, that's for sure, whether it's rent or whether it's people's mortgage that they have to pay right now, very expensive to say the least. Vice Chair Brainerd says it may soon be appropriate to move to slower pace of rate hikes. And the reason that the market didn't like this was that she didn't say it's time to pivot. She said the other rate hikes that we'll do won't be 75 basis points. And of course, the markets did not like that because they're hoping that there's a major reversal. But I think, as I said before, 50 basis points is likely baked into the cake for December. So I believe it's on the 14th or 15th of December. You want to stay tuned to this channel, hit that subscribe button. I will give you updates on that day. And of course, a comprehensive video on the following day where it looks like they're going to be in that 4.5% range. Just think about that. The Fed funds rate at 4.5%. What does that mean for mortgage rates? Okay, this is incredible just compared to where we were at the beginning of the year. And then we have this chart which shows us the inflation breakdown for October 2022 in one chart. Food at work and school is up nearly 100%. And that's like, I guess, your fast food or restaurants. Unbelievable, by the way, how the increase is. Obviously, their staff, they have to increase the price they pay. Their input costs have gone up as well. I go to the market and I go to get the spinach, and that's gone up another 50 cents. And I go to get the, whatever it might be, and that's gone up 50 cents. And, these increments that we're seeing, obviously, if they're buying it for 50 cents more, then they're just going to charge their customer $1 more or $2 more. Okay, so everything, they want to make a margin on everything. And you could see the result of that, okay? People are paying more, and I believe less people will end up showing up. If it hits a certain point, they just can't afford it. Then we have this. Eggs, 43%. Airline fares, 43%. Butter and margarine just goes down the list. A lot. Very expensive stuff. Food at home. So even if you avoid going to the restaurants and so on, still 12.4%. And then you look at energy, 17.6%. So all these prices here depends on where you are, of course. But I think it is significant, to say the least, when you understand that people that have to spend more on energy and food, for dinner and stuff, they don't have money to put into the economy. These currencies have tanked this year, and one is down over 75% against the dollar. So they give you a few examples in here, like Ghana, Cuba, Zimbabwe. All of them have been punished against the strength of the US dollar. Now, will that change if we see the stock market climbing as it has? Are we going to see this change, and then maybe those currencies won't be quite as bad in relation? Only time will tell, but I just wanted to show you that we've seen a lot of damage being done by the relentless strength of the US dollar. So this affects their ability just to, do business within their own country, because everything is priced, commodities, everything is priced in US dollars. And then I wanted to show you a few aspects here. Okay, looking at this, the food prices overall on the UN Food and Agricultural World Food Price Index, they've come down. They have definitely come down from their peak, but we are still at the level that we experienced during the Arab Spring. So it is still very high. Hopefully we see that trend declining, and not because of demand, but because of, easing supply chain pressures and so on. UK's trade-heavy economy heads toward recession and global slump. The only reason I brought this here is how many times, I'm getting sick of it, to be honest with you. I'm just getting sick of hearing over and over, are we heading towards a recession? Are we? Is it really? Is it going to happen? Are we going to head? And then it's going to be 2025, and then, the recession happened 3 years before, and everybody's, oh yeah, that was a recession. It's just crazy. Okay, look here. Energy-saving Britons consider boiling water taps as bills rise. Essentially, the article just says people are going through the appliances that they use and trying to figure out, is this something I need? How do I deal with the increasing prices that I have to pay? Like even the kettle is becoming too expensive and this and that. It's heartbreaking anyway. And then we have this one here. This is for Pakistan. Government has no option but to ration gas this winter. And that is very extreme when I hear these things. It's not just there. We've heard it other places as well, but this is one, and I don't know how they're going to deal with that and how people are going to be able to, are they just going to head to the streets? Are they going to start, civil unrest and so on? This is the type of thing that happens, and it creates that turmoil and creates a whole bunch of different problems too. China issued sweeping directives to rescue its property sector. Here we go, everybody. I wanted to show you this because we've been waiting. We've been waiting for the bailout of the real estate sector in China, the $62 trillion behemoth that is recognized as the biggest asset class in the world, adding to a major recalibration of its response in the strongest signs that the emperor is turning his attention towards shoring up the world's second largest economy. Check this out. They have a 16-point plan to financial firms for boosting the real estate market with measures that range from addressing developers' liquidity crises. How do you do that? I guess that's printing money. To loosening down payment requirements for home buyers. Ah, wonderful. Make it nice and loose. You don't want to have any restrictions. You want people to get homes maybe when they can't even afford it. And then requirements for home buyers, according to people familiar with the matter, as they love to always say. And it just shows us that they want to get this engine moving. Why? Well, you could see depressed spending. Chinese consumption has struggled with the last, 3 years almost of the situation and the property market. So it's just showing us retail sales, and these have been ultimately quite weak. They had hoped for more, certainly, but that's what happens when people are locked down. They can't get outside their home, literally, so they can't spend money. So this is just coming at a time in which we have seen a lot of these major changes in the economy. And what's going to turn that around? Well, of course, we need to see that central bank activity. We need to see the printing of the money. We need to see the reduced interest rates. Whether or not it's going to be able to come in the near future, I don't know, but that's what everybody's waiting for. The businesses are waiting for it. The markets are waiting for it, and we'll see how it goes. All right. Clearly, I'm under the weather, but I don't stop. I make this video for you. Hit that subscribe button down below. See you tomorrow.